what we will hear in a few minutes with Olivier Alexandre, researcher at the CNRS. And the question is, can we transpose the theory of Montesquieu, the check and balances, to these new powers, which are not addressed by the Constitution, so the tech giants. So we stay in the United States, in the Silicon Valley. You have the floor for 20 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation, the organization. Thank you, Marie-Laure. It's a great event. And if it should have been my last academic event before the end of the world, I'm happy that it has been that one. So Montesquieu in Silicon Valley. I will start by, the most obvious thing since the re-election of Donald Trump. A lot of media, but also writers and social scientists try to figure out the situation, and usually they quite agree about how we should name the new situation. So we have almost, every month, every week, a new book about techno-fascism, explaining how and why we are in this situation. And about this very brand new literature, I would say a few things. As a sociologist, studying Silicon Valley for a while now, the first thing is that nobody in tech industry use the expression. It means that it's typically what we call in sociology labeling. Some people use the term and project it on someone else. The second thing is that all these different works are focusing on discourses as ideologies. Even if in tech, the most important thing is the technology. To state the obvious. Thirdly, they pointing out political disruption, saying that it's a coup. And like Anne, I would say that we have to get back to, through the historical process for understanding what is going on. And lastly, they never gave a definition of a democracy. And this is also why I was super happy to hear Marie-Laure the first day, because she gave a substantive definition of democracy. I don't know if it's fair, because I guess we in every country we have a different definition of democracy, and even with Anne and Laurent and myself, I'm not sure that we agree about what democracy means. But I guess if we see things like Karl Mannheim used to see it, we have to put balance a couple of words. First techno-fascism and then democracy. So what I will try to say in this talk is what does it mean democracy and doing politics from Silicon Valley point of view. And so we'll rely on some data. I work on Silicon Valley and tech sector for a decade almost. And I will say three things. I will speak about politics in tech, then tech as politics, and thirdly, tech Trump supporters, how they work, and what are their sociology. So firstly, politics in Silicon Valley. Let's play a game here. Let's imagine that tomorrow we will start a career in tech. And maybe we will have that to do that after the next election in France. So let's imagine that you just create your business in legal tech, for example. And let's try to understand, as an entrepreneur or tech CEO, what will be the hurdles from a political point of view, and what will be the different entities. So first of all, when we will be in tech, the first political entity will be the city. If you are in San Francisco or in Mountain View or in Cupertino, you will fight and cooperate with this kind of people. Then you will have some unions saying that we have to organize and get back some revenues. And then again, you will have some administrative organizations saying that they raise taxes. And then again, you will have the federal powers, like with Biden administration, saying that we have to regulate the sector. And even weirder, you have these very strange people coming from Europe saying that your sector has to be regulated as well through their own language, with their own laws. Which means, at the end of the day, even if you are a small business in legal tech, you will have to comply with that, which is, I memean, a lot. Extremely complex, most of 2,000 pages of law. Nobody knows exactly. They use AI, actually, for trying to figure out what this really means. And even the Pope, I mean, 2 days ago, gave his position about what should be tech. And I'm not taking the side of it, but I'm just addressing this situation. In Europe, particularly, we have been taught to cherish the Leviathan, the state, the law. But when you are in Silicon Valley, where people coming from US, but then Europe, declining a little bit, China, kind of stable, and India, growing for the last years, you just want to do your business, and you just want to develop your tech. And political system and organization doesn't mean protection. It mostly means thief and disorganization and corruption and this very weird political environment where you have first cities, then counties, then California state with all the different and complex agencies system, then US federal state, sometimes it's Trump, sometimes it's Biden, I mean, they don't understand what is going on, and then foreign regional regulation system. So it could be quite confusing, and at the end of the day, we're starting to be eager about what politics and political system means. And even if they are, I mean, coming from, engineer, teacher family, leftist families, I mean, most of them, at the end of the day, they act and say very libertarian things and are quite eager to oppose what is going on in politics. Which leads us to the second part of my talk, trying to understand what politics means from the technological point of view. So as I was just saying, politics for us means political institutions. We all read political and social contract philosophers, starting with Montesquieu, of course. Plus, we are all here quite, I mean, I'm a sociologist, so I feel pretty like the idiot de la famille here, but I mean, we have almost the same language, constitutional law, public law, political sciences, I mean, about the same team. But actually, there are different ways to see politics. Lawrence Lessig made a hit with the expression Cordy's law, but we have a former and far developed tradition, STS tradition, which try to understand what does really mean when you are an experimentator, innovator, from the political point of view. Because of course we could say that lawyers are the real politicians, but in fact, when you are an engineer, you're doing politics with matter, with materials. And it's extremely powerful. And that was the original thesis of this book, comparing the work of Thomas Hobbes with Boyle, and saying that actually tech is political from a different point of view. First, we have material and hardware technology. Second, literary technology, which means that engineers, inventors use speeches for explaining and spread the word and the good word to the rest of the population. So that means it's a symbolic activity, and we have to pay attention to that. And thirdly, we have the social part. And at that time, it was mostly the lab. And today, the situation is, quite different. But actually, if you have read this book, which is a kind of Bible in my domain of interest, from counterculture to cyberculture, of the historian, cultural historian, I don't know, Fred Turner, he was explaining right before what I was saying that, explaining that during the counterculture, we have two trends in North California. The first one was more institutional politicians, and they went at that time filling the rank of the New Left. But there was another part, the new communalists, saying that institutional policy is, obsolete. We won't fix anything through institutional politics. We have to organize ourselves and use small-scale technologies for, tackle the real problematics and problems and issues of the time. And actually, these problems were quite close if we compare the situation today. They were spoken about minorities, climate changing, the concentration of power in the hands of politicians, but also in the industry. And this kind of tradition can be observed almost every year at the Burning Man festival. I don't know if you heard about it. It's a weird place somewhere in the desert with people, getting some LSD, walking half naked. I've been there, don't go there. But during this event, you can see many different traditions and ways to interact. And actually, it's quite diverse. It's super diverse, actually. And still today, of course, you have these dark and lighters. It's true, but you have also the queerness, the AI for good, the hackers traditions. There is all these different vibrant traditions. But when you look at how the work is organized in Silicon Valley today, it's not in the lab, it's almost the same form, but not the same organization. It's in the companies. And actually, these companies have, there are all their differences, but the mental and the social organization, what I called before the social technology, is the same. This is the Apple Park at Cupertino. This is the Meta Park now in Menlo Park. And this is finally the Googleplex. And actually they are, city by their own. And they have been organized like that. There are different sources, mostly the Stanford campuses, but what is important is that when you go there, it's like a total institution. You do everything. You eat, you think, you meet your next husband or spouse or whatever. Furries, you have all different options there. But the thing is that you're going to stay there. And that was I wanted to say, addressing the fact that companies are the key social technology today in tech. And this is why I try to bring back this little guy, Montesquieu, in the party. Because, to me, we can analyze and study these companies through the Montesquieu lens. And if we go back to, his typology, saying that we have despotism, monarchies, and republics, and actually twofold republics. Well, first one, the aristocratic part, and then the democratic part. And actually, he wasn't a big supporter of democracy. He was more, a moderate guy. And what I want to say and I want to claim is that these different traditions could be spotted through the corporate history of Silicon Valley. So I try to do like a small typology. I'm sorry, it's quite small here. But if we take the different categories and try to understand what are the services, what is the symbolic, the discourses, what is the social organization of this corporation, and what have been, starting there, the political orientation, we can see clear lineage. We have tyrannic founders and companies like Shockley, Mercer, Elon Musk. We have some quite CEO engineers who have been more opportunistic, like at HP, Intel, NVIDIA. We have the good guys company, usually aligned with Democrats and the Blue Party, like Varian, Yahoo, Google, OpenAI. And we have the more and the real, actually, democratic and libertarian tradition with the software free software company. No, sorry, the Debian, the Linux, the Wikipedia community. Yeah, and I have 10 minutes.
Less than 10, yeah.
Okay. And this company actually, even beyond their differences, they try to use politics as an opportunity, and they've done that since ever. And there is this book about the young Silicon Valley. We never know when Silicon Valley started, but let's say after the Second World War. And actually, what I want to say is that it has been also a political choice of the US government to, support this industry, especially at the end of the 70s and early 80s when, the US industry was in a very bad place, where the Japanese competition was super harsh and difficult for them. And actually, at that point, in that situation, a lot of people from both sides, Republicans and also Democrats, started to say that the solution will be through tech. And since then, we've seen like a tight collaboration, sometimes not that tight, but a tight collaboration, and whatever the government has been. We can see here Steve Jobs with Bill Clinton, and actually at that moment, Steve Jobs strongly suggested the nomination of 2 members of the government, which is, not nothing. This is the Tech Super Party in 2011 with Barack Obama, and here again, a lot of tech titans. Some of them are not there anymore, but some of them are still in the room, like Mark Zuckerberg, the cool kid on the block. This is in 2016, same thing. Different color, but politically, and this is in 2024. And actually, the funny thing is that at that period, nobody noticed in the media the fact that a lot of different tech people and CEO went there at the White House. And a few months later, it has been almost a shock, mediatically, and a scandal to see the very same people going to the table with Donald Trump. So if we look at the situation through that historical lens, we have to address few themes, like the fact that the US government chose at some point to rely on a monopolist policy, starting at the end of the 70s, then try to bet on, for different reasons, industrial, but also security-related on tech. And finally, all the question of tax policy, but I don't have the time to speak about that. So there are something which has been the same, and there are something new. The last thing that I wanted to do in that talk was to speak a little bit about who are the real or strong tech Trump supporters. Actually, if we look at the Silicon Valley today, it's still divided, and we have more billionaires and tech people who supported Kamala Harris than Donald Trump. And actually, it's a trend that we can also observe in Silicon Valley, which means, both. It's still a blue place, and most of the companies that I just named are quite Democrats as well. If you look at Google, Apple, Netflix, more than 90% of voters and supporters for Kamala Harris. But there is, at every election, more and more people rallying the other side. And it's the case also for Elon Musk, which is definitely le méchant from a lot of different perspectives today. But actually, for a long time, Elon Musk was aligned with the Democratic parties, and we can see that. We have done the job with a few colleagues trying to analyzing his tweets and how they have been correlated with political positions. And till 2022, it was, mostly aligned with Democrat Party. So what happened in 2022? Few things: the launch of ChatGPT 3, the war in Ukraine, then in Middle East, the pandemic as well. And if we look at a larger and bigger picture and scheme, we have differences. It's also the outcome of the tech clash, the Google buses, the Google walkouts, the Me Too movement, the fact that also the Biden administration tried to regulate and pretty strongly the sector, the fact that Chinese competition starting to be more and more present, and the fact that the key compound of tech industry moved to AI, which is, really means something. And actually, I try to look at this industry through maybe a century, and I've never seen that before. The fact that first, this technological revolution is not about the first mover or the young David against Goliath, but it's all about Goliath. And it costs a lot. And if you see the evolution just during the last 10 years, we go about the cost of AI models from very low cost to almost $200 million, which is a lot. And this is a visualization of how the Chinese competitors are getting closer and closer from the American production. A few words about the tech Trump supporters. Actually, what I wanted to say, if we go beyond the techno-fascism rhetoric, we have to say that actually we have different people and they're following their own agendas. Some of them are what we call after Owe Baker moral crusaders, like Peter Thiel, David Sachs, John Lonsdale. They are very political and moral agenda, but there are also tech oligarchs who are trying to defend their interests. We have people who are trying to defend their corporation, and we have political enforcers such as the Dodge kids. So of course tech has won a few things, and in the process they jeopardized other things. Basically us, what I call a knowledge infrastructure, meaning that if we try to get a picture of what has been the main targets of the Dodge, it has been food and climate, research and health, education and inequality, IT and consulting, meaning all the adversary from a knowledge point of view of tech. And if you have some interest in that, we are going to publish an article and paper next month. So at the end, it wasn't really optimistic, unfortunately, and maybe, it's kind of rhetorical as an argument, but we could go back to Montesquieu, which is kind of ridiculous because, it was before the Industrial Revolution, it was before democracies, but, the agenda, and I call that the Montesquieu Heritage Foundation Project. Maybe if you can or want to join us, we can do something about that. And emphasize at that time the question of scale and culture. And it's important to understand that today, when you are Google or Apple or another big tech, your main political entity, the one which you're going to talk with, are very small scale cities, former farmer scales, cities like Cupertino, Mountain View. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's like to go, I don't know, not going to name a city in the countryside of Lyon, but let's pick your city. And then we have to defend some things politically in tech as well, meaning that we have to ask that some services at least stay open, auditable, repairable. We have to pay attention on the symbolic activity of tech through manifesto, of course, but also through technical parts like documentations, ground truthing, and everything. Plus, we have to foster alternative social organization, like foundations, federations, and also academia, of course. Thank you.
So thank you so much for the very interesting intervention on how Montesquieu could be used to understand this complex situation in the Silicon Valley. It was very interesting. Thanks a lot.